Hello, Bob. We're back with the Bürgermeister's tale. We resume with the letters between Anna and Erasmus. By August, Anna was completely downcast, and not only because of her bumpy relationship with Erasmus. There had been a new round of nasty gossip about her, and over the summer she had fallen out with Erasmus's mother, who now accused her of petty thievery. The accusation is believable, given Anna's well-reported thievery at home. But the continuing gossip about her may have triggered it, as it could reasonably have led to Schenken to conclude that the time had come for the family, and most of all Erasmus, to distance themselves from the increasingly notorious Anna. While Erasmus did not share that sentiment, he did very much want his amorous relationship with Anna to remain secret, a concern increasingly expressed in his letters. For this reason, he repeatedly urges her to destroy his letters immediately upon reading them, lest one inadvertently find its way into his mother's hands, and she discover the true nature of their friendship. This was not an unrealistic fear. As a friend of the family, Anna continued to go back and forth on an informal basis to Castle Limburg. Erasmus's sister, also named Anna, 1500 to 1524, was virtually the same age as Anna. The two had, to a degree, grown up with each other, and Anna made a point of being at the castle on the festive occasions she enjoyed so much. And as we also know, that she continued to do some sewing for the family, in particular to make Erasmus's shirts. So a lapse in vigilance, or an indiscretion on her part, with unhappy consequences for them both, was not inconceivable. Against this background, Anna wrote to Erasmus in mid-August 1521, more pessimistic than ever about their relationship. Her courtship with Daniel Troutwain may already have been budding at this time, providing a fresh source of gossip about her in Hull. On the other hand, later reports by those who observe her behavior during these years suggest that she was a spontaneous flirt and able to set tongues wagging simply by her dress and manner. Anna to Erasmus, letter 8. August 15th, 1521. Your Grace is always writing to me, to be of good cheer, but I again ask with whom. That's your Grace's letter doesn't say. The one I want to be cheerful with is not nearby. If only things could be as they once were, when I would gladly be of good cheer. But now I know only sadness. Dearest gracious sir, I live in constant fear that someone has slandered me to your Grace, and it deeply troubles me. Should anyone actually do so, I beg your Grace to believe it neither a little nor a lot. People are simply making up things about me. Dearest, most gracious sir, although I said I would not write again about your mother, I truly cannot let it pass. After she went off, she instructed the bailiff to come to me and get back a coach button, which I am supposed to have taken. Now that would surely be a poor settlement of accounts, should I revenge myself on her by stealing a coach button. I am not her enemy, and I would rather give to her than take from her, although she seems to have no trust in me. But what's done is done. It is a wrecked relationship. I cannot salvage it. Dearest, most gracious sir, how shall I overcome my heartfelt sorrow now that I am in a hailstorm with your Grace? What can I possibly say when every fool wants to make fun of me? Although some of them are the true simpletons, they also gossip to their heart's content about me. I don't know who is telling these stories about me, but there is nothing I can do about it. Dearest, most gracious sir, I am sending your Grace a small feather. Please accept it for the time being until I can send something better. I have instructed the servant to bring it to your Grace as a gift on my behalf. Please treat it as dearly as your Grace would if I had personally brought it to your Grace. And do be a little kind to my servant Michael. He is very dear to me. I ask your Grace to make the best of what I write and not to be angry with me, for my intentions are heartfelt and good. Therewith be commended to the grace of God, the Virgin Mary, and the Holy Saint Anna. Written on the eve of of Assumption Day, August 15, Anna Bushlerin. Why is her name spelled different? Both affection and deception have a place in Anna and Erasmus's relationship. Being both unmarried and unable to consider their relationship either as exclusive or as having a future, the two could only behave toward each other in the ambivalent fashion they do, never expecting anything more from Anna than friendship and sex. Erasmus accepted the limits of the arrangement more readily than Anna, who seems at times to have hoped for more. While the possibility of that happening was not wholly preposterous, Erasmus has been destined by birth to marry at his rank, as the encounter with Elizabeth of Hohenlohe abruptly reminded Anna. Both Anna and Erasmus understood the situation well enough when they pondered it realistically, and each knew that the other was not being faithful during their separation. For these reasons, their efforts to console each other often turn into self-defense and implied suspicion, as happens when Erasmus responds to Anna's despair over the gossip, then threatening her reputation in Hull and trying his own patience with her. Letter 9, Erasmus to Anna, 1521. A warm greeting, dear Anna. This reminds me of the Droogs and the Clockwork Orange. A Clockwork Orange. A warm greeting, dear Anna. We have your letter in which, among other things, you tell us still again of your worry that someone is slandering you to us. You truly should not be concerned about this, or have any doubts about us, for we are not that easily turned against you. For us to act otherwise would be neither kind nor fair. Dear Anna, recall the letter we wrote you when we were last in Worms. It is, we told you, to be of good cheer and to believe nothing that anyone tells you about us. Do not doubt, dear Anna, that we wish to hold fast, to believe no slander, and to allow you to vindicate yourself. Know also, dear Anna, that I will be going to the court in Heidelberg before winter sets in, and while I am there, we will be nearer to each other and able to communicate more easily. Believe us, if our father would allow us, we would long ago have joined you in all. You can see yourself how I feel. Lastly, dear Anna, we thank you for the feather you sent us. We will return the kindness on another occasion. God bless and keep you and give you many 100,000 good nights. Written in 1521, Erasmus, Lord of Limburg. If Erasmus had doubts about Anna's character at this time, he did not allow them to end the relationship. Nor was he in any position to throw stones. His own very public carousing and womanizing had made him the object of much irreverent gossip as well. From a modern point of view, his behavior is reprehensible. Yet because of the class and gender double standard of her age, contemporaries did not view it that way. For her part, Anna was ready to forgive and forget, and she vows to cherish to the end the assurances Erasmus gave her. Managing the rumors and gossip circulating about Erasmus proved emotionally difficult for her, however, suggesting again that her involvement had been deep and her expectations perhaps too high. When she received new reports of his drunkenness and whoring in the town of Speckfield, she could neither ignore them nor take them philosophically in stride. Erasmus describes the episode and its emotional aftermath in a letter written probably in early 1522. Anna had greeted the initial reports of his new decadence with sarcasm, for which Erasmus now reproaches her, yet, in his own crude way, he also attempts to apologize for his behavior. Letter 10. Erasmus to Anna. This is letter 10 that's been salvaged out of the 13. Dear Anna, I am not a little taken aback by the letter you have written, which I must assume you wrote in a whimsical mood. If the Speckfield pigs, as you call me in my party, have made a lot of work for the maids here, I believe they have more power to do so than the mother pigs of Hull, Anna and her suitors, who have also left quite a lot of work for the maids. So how dare they reproach us? Also, I've heard it said before that where drinking is held in honor, vomiting is no shame. But I rejoice in God on your behalf that he has heard your plea and given you a mind capable of engaging in witty conversation. I just spent some time in Nuremberg, where at meetings of the Imperial Diet, Archduke Ferdinand awards the wittiest person a prize or a 10-piece, the greater of the two going to the winner. I see that God has enlightened you, so that you too are now ready to enter such a competition. And I have no doubt that you would outdo all the ill-tempered here. As for what you wrote about the New Year's gift, it was not without reason that I told you earlier, as you will recall if you really want to, that I was preparing to travel to Nuremberg and spend some time there, and that if you wished to do so, you were to write to me there, and I would respond appropriately. As I became busy with my father's affairs, however, that did not happen, and I also forgot about the New Year's gift. I swear to you now that I have no goldsmith in Speckfield, so I cannot send you anything, but I will keep my promise to send you something when it can be done. Dear Anna, as you mean what you say in your letters, I mean what I say in mine. If what I write is good, I intend it to be good. If angry, I intend it to be angry. Grain for salt. God willing, I will speak no false or untrue words to you as long as I live, unless you first give me reason to do so. But I must entrust myself to God in this. A doctor may be as learned as he will, but if he has no practical experience, his knowledge is worthless. This has also been the case with me, but with injury also comes wisdom. For one then knows to watch one step all the more. Written between Pfingsten and Esslingen, when they are bringing home the manure. Erasmus had an ulterior motive, soon to be made apparent in writing this letter. Nonetheless, his grudging apology for the spectacle he made of himself in Speckfield, together with his promise henceforth better to conform his deeds with his words, had the desired effect on Anna. She renewed her efforts to reassure him of her worthiness and to make peace with his family, though he's his trusted secretary, and their loyal go-between, Hans Kitzinger, no relation to Henry, also known as Hans of Heidelberg. She delivered a love toast to Erasmus, a bottle of wine to be drunk in Kitzinger's presence, accompanied by the latter's conveyance of her fondest wishes of luck and well-being. For Erasmus's younger brother Philip, Anna embroidered a fine collar, which Kitzinger presented to the boy in his mother's presence, later reporting that the Schenken had found it very agreeable and pleasing, and instructed him to tell Anna so. Anna even made a bracelet for Kitzinger, who was so elated by the gift that he promised to wear it as long as it could be tied. Anna, however, never believed that Erasmus properly recognized her generosity, much less returned it. She accuses him of writing to her less regularly and warmly than she to him. The fact that more of his letters to her have survived than of hers to him supports her claim of deeper involvement in and loyalty to the relationship. Contrary to his instructions, she did not destroy his letters. Well, there can be little doubt that he destroyed hers. Her surviving letters are surely drafts of her own, which she kept along with his, which was normal epistolary practice at the time, to send a clean copy and to keep the first draft for one's own records. Erasmus's letters meant enough to Anna for her to risk their discovery and her own undoing. Despite Erasmus's assurances, his deeds never did catch up with his promises. It is over just this issue, the one-sided nature of their relationship, that Anna complains in her next letter. For the first time in the correspondence, she drops epistolary convention and addresses Erasmus as an equal. Also, for the first time, she writes explicitly about sex, accusing Erasmus of avoiding her out of fear that she, in her new anger at him, might let herself get pregnant by him. The comment suggests that they had been using a form of birth control, successful up to now, which Anna managed, possibly sponges or an acidic ointment, which were available contraceptives for women. Letter number 11, Anna to Erasmus. Noble, kind, and most darlingly gracious sir, I should write your grace a long letter, but I am now so confused that I don't know what I should do. This is because I have no idea what your Grace's wishes are. You send me messages every day, one saying you are coming, the other that you are not. The messenger reminds me of a cat I send off in the night to Limburg that both licks my face and claws my back. My dear sir, when you concern yourself with me so much, yet confide in me so little, you might just as well not contact me at all. Perhaps you fear that if you came to me, I would give you a little bastard. I swear I can do nothing like that. But take care that another woman just as mad at you as I does not one day come along and do just that. I myself am still too young and inexperienced in such matters. Although I am learning, I leave it to God and to time. You are perhaps worried that it still might happen to you one day, but you are much too handsome for me to do that to you. So don't worry about it. I am happy that it is not true. Dear sir, could you have given me no other answer to yesterday's letter than that you have ridden off with George von Kralsheim and are not coming here because he had no need to be in Hall today? Dear sir, if you do not come to me as gladly as I see you, then it is best for us to forget it. I still would like to have seen you, had you been invited here, but it's turned out differently. Either your Grace has not been here, or your father has not been here, or my father has not been here. But I believe your Grace would as soon not have come, even if I had made a great fuss about it. That is how I see things. No matter how it turns out, I only end up making a fool of myself. Pardon the sniffle. I get the sniffles after I drink coffee, bruv. Not sure why. Despite Anna's ability to joke about it, she and Erasmus had reason to fear a pregnancy. They lived at a time when unwed mothers and fathers were being met with increasing intolerance and harsh treatment. And Hall had its own reputation for strict justice. Since the 13th century, it had possessed among its executionary devices a crude guillotine made by implanting a sword blade in an oaken block, and executed criminals were hung in public view until dry. Even the council treated its members roughly, fining those who came late to meetings while firing and possibly imprisoning those who spoke disrespectfully and defiantly to the council, broke the law or acted without the council's permission, and after 1525 opposed the Reformation. An unwed mother faced loss of employment, a fine, corporal punishment, public disgrace, and or exclusion from her community. According to a contemporary chronicle, Hall confined pregnant maids with accused witches as soon as their pregnancies began to show. Hall confined pregnant maids with accused witches as soon as their pregnancies began to show. And when the time came for their delivery, they were placed under guard in the purgatory of the hospice. After the recovery from the birth, the new mother was whipped out of the main town gate with newborn babes in arms by guards and willing townspeople. Clergy entered the names of illegitimate children into the baptismal books in red ink, their bastardy thereafter showing them lifelong, making it difficult for them to gain honorable work and to enter honorable marriage. So frightening had the prospect of unwed motherhood become by the 17th century that some pregnant women resorted to infanticide when a marriage could not be arranged. In 17th century, all known illegitimate births were extremely rare. Of 146 baptisms registered in the parish church of St. Michael's in 1637, only 2 were of infants born to unwed mothers. One of those was to a woman named Ursula Grafen, 1606 to 1660, whose experience as an unwed mother might conceivably have been Anna's. After losing her parents at 20 years of age, she had worked as a maid in Hall's neighboring village. While employed at a local mill, she got to know a man there and became pregnant by him. She had every expectation that a marriage would result, and when, by the 7th month of her pregnancy, it had not, she filed a paternity suit against the accused father, charging him with breaking his solemn promise of marriage. For his part, the alleged father confessed to having had sexual relations with Ursula, but denied ever having promised to marry her, and he countered her charges with a defamation suit of his own. The case remained under consideration for almost a year, from January to November, during which time in March Ursula delivered a dolt. In the end, the city council could not prove conclusively that the accused man was guilty either of paternity or of breaking a marriage vow, and so it did not order him to pay child support. However, the council did fine him 50 gulden for immoral conduct, fornication, and he did spend some time in jail while the council debated the case. In dealing with Ursula, the council prescribed a more severe penalty, but one which, uncharacteristically, it did not in the end enforce. Ordered in November to leave Hall lands immediately. With her 6-month-old child, she became the recipient of groundswell report. She became the recipient of a groundswell of support from a number of citizens, both men and women who had known and respected her parents and had watched her unsuccessful litigation sympathetically. At their request, the council reviewed her case and modified her punishment, banning her only from the city proper and not from the neighboring villages as well. This comparatively mild banishment would have allowed her still to come and go in the villages, familiar to her, and since winter was imminent, the new ruling had come in early December, the council further permitted her to postpone her departure from the city for 2 months. However, as these 2 months passed, she remained in the city without protest from either the magistrates or the populace, and continued to support herself and her daughter there by sewing. At her death in 1660, the entry in the registry of deaths, Totenbusch, praised the honesty of her life and work in the years after her transgression. Her daughter, who was now 23 years of age, continued to live and work in the city as her mother had done. Listen, bruv, the train's back. Whether Anna and Erasmus would have fared better or worse than Ursula and her lover in a paternity suit is a moot question. Given Erasmus's position and Anna's reputation, the outcome would surely have been happier for him than for her. Still, if Anna is to be believed, Erasmus feared the prospect of a pregnancy more than she. The reason for his fear would doubtless have been the reaction of her father as much that of his own. Erasmus might have his way with barmaids, prostitutes, and ordinary maidservants with impunity. But Anna's father was a powerful man and in a position to give him and his family real grief. It was very much in the interest of the Limburg Shanks at this time to maintain the best possible relations with the whole city council, so Erasmus wanted not a hint of scandal, much less of fine or jail time. And as the gossip about Anna and her suitors increased in Hall, he became obsessed with the secrecy of their relationship. Although the inference may be entirely too speculative, it may have been the case that Erasmus already at this time suspected that Anna was pregnant, and he sought to abort the fetus. That may be the hidden subject of a letter, unfortunately undated, that he wrote to his mother about settling his affairs with Anna. In the letter, he tells his mother to instruct Anna to be bled without delay in a very specific way for an unspecified malady. Erasmus to his mother. Dear mother, I hope to put all my affairs in good order when I come home, especially one matter that still needs to be straightened out. I must pay Anna Buschler everything she is owed, and tie up all loose strings with her, for she truly deserves this much from me. Greet her for me and tell her that I propose that she have a good bleeding next Saturday, and that she do so from the median vein just under the navel. If she has no servant to assist her in this, she should let me know, and I will arrange for her friends to help. Erasmus, Lord of Limburg. If Anna had been pregnant at this time, which is extremely speculative, and had followed this instruction, she would most likely have induced an abortion. All the major medical authorities of the age advised against bleeding pregnant women at any time, but especially during the first and third trimesters. This was true even if the woman in question had a history of safe, regular bleeding. Bleeding from the median vein, which Erasmus here recommends, provided the general evacuation of the body and required several days' recuperation. It was the major treatment for diseases of the heart and chest cavity, and was also highly recommended for the cure of headaches. One actually bled this vein from the lower arm near the elbow, not from beneath the navel, which Erasmus appears erroneously, but understandably, to instruct. If he then feared Anna to be pregnant, of course he might just as well have recommended the procedure in the belief that it might also have prevented the pregnancy, which, as Anna indicates, was also a subject very much on his mind. In the 16th century, phlebotomy was the vastly popular cure-all for virtually every internal disease or illness, and physicians alternately recommended it to their patients and warned them against its overuse. Reigning medical science treated most disease and illness as the result of accumulating foul matter in the body, the sloughing off of which by bleeding might prevent illness in the still healthy and reverse it in the already stricken. Bleeding thus kept or restored the body's natural equilibrium, thereby maintaining or strengthening a person's natural resistance to disease and illness. Because of its reputation as a panacea, women with a history of miscarriages and stillbirths, desperate for a child, might well have been tempted, against the advice of the medical authorities, to turn to bleeding as an aid to a successful pregnancy. This is exactly what the famous scholar-diplomat Christopher Schurl and his wife Katharina, a well-to-do Nuremberg patrician couple, appear to have done. Katharina had repeated stillbirths between 1522 and 1527. The couple buried 6 fetuses, each of them properly named, prayed over and buried. Christoph in 1522, Helena in 1524, Ursula in 1525, Katharina in 1526, and Albrecht and Hieronymus in 1527. Noteworthy behavior in light of the widespread belief that parents in the past neither loved their children nor were able to even recognize them as such. Then, in 1530, while in the town of Fortschane on business, Christoph met a woman who, like his wife, had also had a history of stillbirths, but had finally managed to deliver a healthy child by bleeding herself before and during pregnancy. At least that was what she attributed good fortune to. Christoph had hardly told Katharina the story before she was bleeding herself as well. And eventually, with similar success, she gave birth to a son on April 19th, 1532, the first of 3 healthy boys she delivered before her childbearing years ended in 1535. For his part, Christoph believed his son's birth to be a miracle of God, not a work of medicine, and compared himself and Katharina to Elkanah and Hannah in the Bible, who also had been childless for many years before getting their Samuel by fervent prayer. 1 Samuel 1. Katharina, on the other hand, was impressed by the instrumental role bleeding had played in the divine outcome. From a contemporary and modern medical point of view, she and the woman in Folsheim she imitated had been very lucky. Anna, of course, could have been suffering from any number of legitimate illnesses, which bleeding from the median vein was believed to cure, in which case Erasmus's directive to her via his mother would have been for the times both carried and sound. Also arguing against the pregnancy, either true or false, is the fact that no hint of such appears in the trial records. Since exposure of Anna's allegedly immoral character was her enemy's main tactic, had she ever been rumored to have been pregnant outside of marriage, that information would most certainly not have been withheld by them in court. Finally, the fact that Anna remained childless through 2 later marriages raises the question whether she could have children under any circumstances. Be all this speculation as it may, the next time Erasmus wrote to Anna, he was back in Castle Limburg and as eager to see her as ever, though Kitzinger, he informed her that his father would be departing Limburg and away for an extended period of time, and that she should take advantage of the situation at her will and pleasure, requesting only that her journey to Limburg be as discreet as it was quick. All right, Bobs, we'll pick up next time with letter 13, Anna, or Erasmus to Anna. Goodbye.